If you've lived most of your life pushing yourself hard every day while your inner voice scolds you every time you hit an energy slump, I get it. Rest has been vilified for many generations. What if rest was actually the key to unlocking more productivity? Hello, and welcome to the Connect Podcast. This show is all about helping you connect to your soul's calling so you can take action on it. Because the sweetest success is a blend of discovering your purpose with the inner drive to bring it to life. I'm Sheila, health coach, lifestyle entrepreneur, and mom of two, best known for my online wellness programs, mentoring, and self-love passion. Listen in for inspiring interviews, solo chats, and Q&A sessions that will move you past overwhelm towards what lights you up. Stop accepting good enough and go for your version of great in your health, business, and relationships. Let's get started. Hi, welcome to this Monday minisode where I share an insight designed to help you live into what lights you up this week. How are you feeling? Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling recharged? Did you have a good sleep last night? Do you feel like before your feet hit the ground, you feel behind already? This is so common with women that I talk to. And in speaking with clinicians and therapists, the idea of overwhelm, burnout, exhaustion, these are so common, especially now in our very interconnected world. And it was like this prior to 2020, but with all of the added stressors and the flex work and the addition of many different shifts and responsibilities in families, it has often gotten quite out of hand. So this is an important conversation to have. When is it too much? When do we need to shift how we're doing things? What is the reason for us doing this work that we do? What is the reason in our life? I believe it is so we can have a quality of life, right? People work so they can take care of the people that they love. They can take care of their own personal needs and hopefully contribute to other causes and things that are close to their heart. And if you're exhausted and burnt out all the time, that really gets in the way of the joy that you need to be experiencing and that you desire. Because truly, by the end of your life, when you look back, you're going to realize that every day and every moment all added up to what your life is. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I hear it so much. And if you've listened to past interviews on this podcast, you've heard a few stories of women who faced burnout. And it wasn't often just one time that they experienced it. It was more than one. And it was because of the conditioning that they learned in society from how to get ahead. And that is to grind hard, to push no matter what's going on. And I understand that there are those times when we're getting a project off the ground, starting a business, starting fresh in a new career, working into some form of new education where we're going to be more tired because there's more new information and we need to just put our head down and go. And it's also important for us to build in periods of rest, even during that busy time, because our bodies were designed with rest as our recharging time. And it's the time where our body rejuvenates itself and heals itself and flushes out toxins. And if we're not giving ourselves enough of that rest time, our bodies are not going to be operating well. And you know what? Either are our brains. Our brains take a lot of calories to operate well, and to function well, they also need a lot of rest. And in theory, as we talk about this, it makes sense. And then we get into the business of our actual lives and we say, yeah, well, I can't really deal with that right now because I'm just too busy. And that's another thing. Very often when you're asking someone how they're doing, I'm so curious to know, and you should let me know. I would love to hear, how often do people reply, I'm just so busy? I feel like almost every person I talk to, that is their response when I see them out in public or on the street or bump into somebody. And I feel sad about that. Busy can be good when you're busy doing the things that you love and you're lit up by them. But very often when I hear people, I'm just so busy, they're busy, exhausted. They're not happy about it. How are you when you think about that question? If someone asks you, is that your initial response as well? I'm just so busy. Think about that and see what would need to shift for you to be able to respond in a way that was more relaxed, where you actually felt good. Would it mean that you needed to take some things off your plate to potentially plan in some time in the next weeks or months where you can have less on your schedule so that you can feel more restored each day? Because here's the thing. When you're exhausted, you're not doing your best work. You're not putting the best focus and attention and creativity into the work that you're doing. And how does it impact your relationships when you're exhausted all the time? I know for myself, if I have not eaten, or if I've been not feeling well, or if I'm not sleeping for whatever reason, I can be not as pleasant to be with. And so that can set off a whole cascade of things in relationships. So rest becomes so important. And yes, productive, because that is how we center ourselves and get to a place where we can enter into our days, into our conversations, and into the most meaningful work and meaningful purpose in our life, clear-headed, when we are rested. When I have had times where I have been a little under the weather, if I had like a tummy bug or something like that, something that I started to do was actually repeat a mantra to myself as I was taking some deep breaths to remind myself, rest is productive. The title of this episode, I actually would repeat that over and over to remind myself, this rest that I'm giving myself is incredibly productive. And you know what? It calmed my nervous system and allowed me to get the rest that I needed so that I was ready to move into the coming days or weeks all better and more energized. So as you're going through your week, think about those things. Think about, how do you respond when people ask you how you're doing? Think about how you feel when you start your day, when you roll out of bed in the morning. Is it challenging? Are you jumping out of bed, excited to start the day, or are you absolutely exhausted? There are ways for you to get the rest that you need. And I talk a lot about this in some of my blogs and in some of my programs. So please go over to sheilabatello.com/elevate, and you can get connected to some of those details, because your rest helps with your vitality and helps you actually find more joy in your life, because that is the truth. Your body was not meant to be pushed to the limit every single day. In fact, rest is the key to unlocking more productivity and joy in your life and the life of others than you can imagine. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a beautiful, restful week and a purposeful week, doing the things you love, giving your best. And I'll see you on another episode. Big blessings. Thank you so much for being here with me on the Connect podcast. If you like this episode, please share it with someone you think would enjoy it. Also, if you head over to iTunes to leave a review, I'd be so grateful. Let us know what your favorite parts were and what you'd like to hear more of. It will help us have a greater impact, elevating many more people to grow and succeed together. See you next time.